Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Elite Currency. My name is Chris, and together with Nanette, we, of course, run Elite Currency website, and we're going to take a look at the charts, what is happening in the Forex market right now in just a second. First of all, we do have to explain you this risk disclaimer. This explains that trading for exchange or global financial markets is considered high risk, may not be suitable for everyone. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This webinar is for informational and educational purposes only, and by continuing watching this webinar, you agree with this disclaimer. Plus, you are aware of the risk involved when trading. Thank you so much for your attention on that. So, Nanette and myself, as you probably know us from Admiral Markets, that's the place to be for your trading decisions with regard to content, with regard to webinars, but also the trades themselves. Of course, Admiral Markets offers the opportunity for you to participate in the market and also offers actually some extra features like Supreme Edition, which makes the trading easier for you, all right, with a lot of extra plugins. If you want to join Admiral Markets, just a small promotion here, then you can do that through us as well. You get some extra credit that you can use for courses, tools, and indicators. So we would welcome that as we can help you more. So elitecurrency.com and / all of our systems tools. Alrighty, so a quick intro on let's say the rules of this webinar in a way, or the things we look for in this webinar. So you have a bit more idea what we're looking at and you understand the structure of this webinar. Basically, we're using in this webinar HARP Charts. Those are custom-made charts that have been developed by ourselves for our own trading, and we are sharing the potential to access them with you. You can do that throughout the whole June with accompanying webinars, and there's an opportunity to join our live trading webinars as you're doing now. There are more webinars, 6 webinars actually in the remainder of June. We'll do the same. You can also you can do that by going to live trades, clicking on live Forex trading webinars and registering, and you can get the HARP charts and test them out for a whole month, this entire June. Just go to live trades, click on the HARP charts, or go to this 2-week trial and fill in the data here, your account number and your email address. And you can look along not only in these webinars, but with your charts as well at home. So we'll be using these HARP charts as a guidance. We use them for our own trading together with AccuSystem. And these charts go further. It's more than a system because there are kind of multiple systems in this. So the first thing we look at is trend. We can use the trend very easily by using the Heikin Ashi candles, indicating light green, and the special momentum indicator right here, this one, all right, indicating dark blue upside, dark red downside. So it's very easy to spot momentum. I talked about that yesterday in big detail. Second thing you want to always take a look at, of course, is filters. Make sure that there's nothing that could stand in the way of your trade and could block it from happening, like a big support or resistance, a daily pivot like this, for instance, or a big news event. Then we zoom in. Let's say we have a good momentum, a good trend on the 1-hour chart or 4-hour chart. We would zoom in to one time frame lower. So if we have a trend on the 4-hour, we zoom into the hourly chart. And what we want to see is if the momentum is there or not. If there's momentum, we zoom in even further. If not, then we want to see retracement and continuation. All right. So we see blue candles. That's great. We're looking for a bit of a dip like this for continuation trades to the upside. And then we're looking for the setups. Setups could be multiple things. Yesterday we, I think, covered in detail the oscillator entry using this oscillator right here and how it basically makes a pullback and continues. So every time it does this, right? Every time it does this, those are opportunities for new setups. That's one way of setting up. But we also have other things, other setups that that are maybe would be too much to expect to cover. So I only focus on the oscillator more or less till now. All right, with that kind of warning already, let's take a look at the live charts. It's a pity. I'm in 2 trades. I wish I would have had the opportunity to take those trades live with you. The webinar, unfortunately, just, the entries were just done before the webinar. That's always difficult. That you never know when it happens. That's why it's good if you have access to maybe you would have had the opportunity to see that too. But as you can see, I'm in a short on the pound odd and I'm short on the pound yen. These are scalping trades on 5-minute charts, and they're up about 38, 40 pips at the moment and doing well. So I'm happy with these trades. Uh, but we're going to take a look if there's anything else that could be traded. I actually wanted to focus today on short-term time frames and show you the opportunity to how you can grab pips, let's say at the end of a New York session or London session, not just within that session, let's say, not only swing trades. Last week, we had a intraday trade on the pound odd on Tuesday. We had a swing trade on Wednesday on the euro odd. That was an hourly setup. So today I wanted to shift gears a bit, shift to different time frames, and zoom in and look at lower time frames. That's why I took two trades on the on the pound odd and pound yen just a couple of minutes ago. Um, would have been better. Obviously, would have been great if it would have happened in the live room, but maybe it will still happen. We'll take a look at other pairs in just a second. I do think for scalping purposes, pound yen, pound odd, those are good pairs. Euro yen, 2 pound dollar, because those have typically more movement within a couple of hours within that session, right? The dollar Swiss C, I don't think is a good pair for scalping, just because it typically does not have much movement on average, right? So, with that introduction said, let's first take a look maybe at what's going on other pairs. Maybe there is a setup to be found, and I don't want to miss that. All right, then we'll take a look. I also will keep an eye on the euro odd and pound odd as it develops. I don't want to miss my exit point either. Maybe bear with me just a second when I would like to put on targets perhaps first. Okay, just give me that second. I will put the target for the moment, I think at, it's pretty close to target actually already. Let me zoom into the minute chart actually, because the M1 is pretty close by. All right, you can see the momentum is certainly in the market. Everything is red. All right, so I'm thinking about locking in a profit because the target is M1 and that could give a bit of a bounce. Now, I do think that it could continue after that, but that the M1 is always a bouncing spot. And let's see if it can push through. I think for the moment, if I put my stop loss behind this 5-minute candle as a trail, that should be fine for the moment. Let's see how this 5-minute candle closes. I will move my stop loss to, let's see, above this candle. So I'll go to break even. So I'm not risking anything at this moment. Nothing lost. That's already important, right? That's the first thing. And let's see how this develops. I'll put my take profit. I got a 50 level. Maybe I'll just keep using the trail. Maybe I'll just actually take this away and I'll aim for S2. Why not? Go a bit more lower target. Let's see, maybe the momentum is strong and we can capture a bit more. So I aim for 194.14 for the moment. I'm aiming for S2. But I'm going to keep an eye on this 5-minute chart and see if we lose momentum or if it shows signs of struggle at the M1, then I will take those pips, which is probably going to be, the M1 would be about 55. So I'll keep an eye on this. The pound yen, excuse me, broke M2, S1 is the next target. So these are pretty big gaps. Let's take a look. Let me put quickly a fib here, 154.50. All right. So maybe that S1 is not a bad target to aim for. All right, so here too, I'm going to put my stop loss at break even. Yep. And I'm going to move my targets to 90. All right. Good. So as you can see, the stop losses were not that big. I mean, I put the stop loss around 95, I think it was. So we're looking at about a 28 pip stop loss. So if I do hit my target, it's definitely a 3-to-1 trade, which is great for intraday trading. And both trades are at break even at the moment, so I have nothing to lose. At the moment, you might wonder, why don't you just take the profit right now? You got 1-to-1 trade, but I like the momentum. I like the push here. I like the power. I like the fact that it broke M2. I like the fact that we got a good power candle here, good strong momentum candle. I like the fact that we're below this. We broke that level. If it hooks back, it could still be resistance. So I like the fact that I'm at break even. Of course, there's a risk I might just get nothing out of this trade, but I think there's just, considering the momentum, there's a good chance of continuation. So I want to be patient for the moment. I want to be patient. And I said, I might not be able to grab profit because of that decision, but I think it's worth it. All right, and maybe one of the two gets knocked out. Let's see, who knows? For the moment, you see we're making a bit of a trace. But if you see the 5-minute, we're in a momentum. Let's stick to this pound odd. It's good momentum. 50-minute chart. Let's take a look what we need for such a trade. 50-minute chart is trending. It's momentum. We see clearly that the number one indicator is red. But as a confirmation, everything else is red too. All right, the momentum indicator, for those that are trading ACU, you see that's down too. And we see also the MA oscillator down. All right. We see 5-minute is down as well. All right. So we could even look for pullback and continuation on a 1-minute chart. And we're getting the pullback right now. So from this point of view, I would be interested to see if price makes a turn here. That could actually be this could be a pullback to the S1, excuse me, which could be resistance now for a fall down to that target I just talked about. So I would be interested in scaling in on, as a scalping potential trade, even on this time frame. Now, mind you, I want to give an extra warning that I have not done that too often on a minute chart. As I said yesterday, I think in animal markets or this webinar, that still needs a bit more testing. But it's something that I think does make sense in this context. Good momentum. This is most likely a pullback for downside. All right, so let's keep an eye on this minute chart. Let's see if the pound yen will be the same. 5-minute chart is losing a bit of momentum. 15 does have it still. 5 is losing it. But could be the same indeed as the pound odd. Maybe the 5 is the 5 is still keeping it. Now 5 is losing it now too. All right. So once we lose the momentum on 5-minute chart, then you don't want to zoom in anymore. That's basically a general rule. If you want to keep the momentum on a higher time frame. But the 50-minute momentum is still there, so we can still keep an eye on the 5-minute chart. I think the pound is moving up. Probably not. Maybe it's the yen. You see, the yen is in. This is the pound. Sorry. Let's go to the yen. Oh, the yen is moving down. I don't know. Anyhow, for whatever reason, the pound yen is slightly retracing. The pound odd a bit more. Maybe it's the Aussie that's moving up. Well, anyhow, doesn't matter. So the scheme of things, the idea of this trade, always momentum, zoom in, and check if there's momentum on that time frame. The reason I took this trade was because there was 50-minute momentum, as you can see clearly here. And on a 5-minute chart, we had a pullback, which was here, and continuation, which was here. All right, that's when we basically had a turn right there. We got a red candle, a red arrow, and it was looking, as ready to break. So I took the entry right there on this candles, and then it started to fall. So that was the pound odd. Let's see if it survives because it's really getting close. Pound yen is the same. It too had momentum on the 50-minute chart right here. As you can see, this is when we entered in momentum territory right there. Rejected off the pivot point. Zooming into the 5-minute chart, we basically see small pullbacks here and here. And so that's why I took it a bit later maybe than I would ideally have, wanted it to take it. Ideally, maybe I would have taken it a bit higher, but that's okay. Still just a few pips lower than that perfect price, and that's okay. So that's where I took it right there. All right, let's see if there's anything else going on. Momentum on the euro dollar 50-minute chart, as you can see, nicely building the whole day. But wave analysis already talked about it. The pound odd is taken out, by the way, for break even in the meantime. And I talked about it in the Admiral Markets webinar. We could have an upside day today, and indeed, we got momentum. And look at that. We had momentum here from this moment onwards. We're still building on that. So 5-minute dips right here. This was an entry candle on the 5-minute world. That was a great swing trade right there, or sorry, intraday trade. Not a lot of pips because the pivot points are pretty close. All right, but small risk as well, just below this fractal. 12 pips risk, up 24. 2-to-1 trade at this point. All right, it's above the R2, so maybe if you're in that trade, you can hang in. So, but you can see how that principle works. Right now, we're above the R2, so I don't think at this moment it makes sense to look at the euro dollar anymore. But it was a good trade, an intraday trade earlier on the euro dollar to the upside. All right, let's take a look quickly. Don't want to bore you here. Let's take a look. I don't think it's a setup for now, but if you're in that setup, great job. I took that setup, as you see here. That was based on this 4-hour world changing. This is a 4-hour trade, actually. Put the stop loss below the fractal. And you can see on the daily chart, same principle. We had an uptrend. 4-hour chart, we had a retracement, and we're seeing continuation here. So that's why I took that trade. 1-hour chart, momentum up, besides this pause here. 15 up. So we're looking for 5 pullback continuation. So I took a 4-hour trade. Anyone who's looking for an intraday trade had the chance to take it right there, somewhere in there, just a bit above my price, and it's going fine. So let's take a look. Pound dollar, if there's anything right now. Pound dollar, no, there's no momentum on the pound. A bit to the downside, but the hourly is up. If anything, it's down at this moment, right on the 15, for scalping purposes at least. 5-minute though, losing it, and it's above the pivot. You see that? That's not good for shorts. So that's a filter. No, not shorting it against the pivot. Let's zoom in to the dollar yen. 15 is heavily down. 5 is down. So we had good opportunities on the dollar yen actually, just like the euro dollar earlier. We had it here was a setup, and here was a setup. And those trades are up 35-ish pips and close to the target. That's always a bit annoying if the price gets within a few pips. To be honest, I never aim for the real, full level. I always go like 5 pips above it or something like that. So if you did that, probably got out with profit already on this trade. Considering the momentum, I think we need to see a bit of pullback here and a turnaround on this 5 minutes. So that we need a bit of pullback. Pound yen 2, we're looking for continuation. I'm already in this trade, but we got good momentum on the 15. So all we basically need is a 5-minute world to turn again, and it could be a new scale-in potentially. And this trade I'm still in, contrary to the pound odd, because the retracement has not been that strong. All right, euro odd is below the pivot. That's good for shorts. We do have momentum to the downside here on the 15. Once again, I'm looking at very small time frames just to look for, let's say, a trade of the day. All right. I'm only looking at 50-minute charts now, but ideally, 1 hour is, well, I shouldn't say ideally. It's a lot better. Actually, if the hourly is aligned with the 15. If you got a good momentum on the 15, an hour, and the same direction on the 15, it's a lot easier to take an intraday scalp or intraday position trade than without the hourly being on your side. All right. So that's something to to add. Um, but if we look at the 50-minute chart, we see a good breakout candle at this moment. We see momentum to the downside, but all in all, I think it's a bit too choppy, really, on this particular 50-minute chart. It could break. This could be a breakout candle. But considering the hourly, I think we might want to be a bit careful with that. Definitely trend and momentum is down on this hourly, but we're seeing a retracement at this point. I think maybe waiting for this hourly candle to close could be best. Then let's see, we do have momentum to the downside on a 4 hour. We do have it on the daily. Yeah, so I think the 4 hour looks good. This is more like a 1 hour setup, in all honesty. If the 4 hour world is bearish and the 1 hour finishes its retracement that we had here with this candle, it could be a swing setup. Stop loss has to go above these tops. So wait, let me write that down. Otherwise, I'll lose track. EJ swing. All right. Aussie dollar is pushing through. I mean, 4 hour basically still pushing, daily 2. 1 hour we got a bit of a dip and lost the retracement here on the hourly chart. Right there. So that setup is a few pips up. Now we do have momentum to the upside on the hourly now. 50-minute chart in a way as well. The price is at the R2. So that's a bit tricky at this moment. 5 minutes retracing. I don't think Aussie is not a great pair for intraday trading anyhow. So considering the R2 as well, I think that's not so interesting. Could be for swing trades. I didn't really focus on that. Let's take a look. Swing trade already happened actually. Kiwi swing trade from yesterday morning, right? That ended up well for 50, 60 pips. But I said already this morning that actually in the Admiral Workers webinar, look out for the continuation. Once you get 50-minute momentum, then dive into the 5-minute chart, I said, for follow through. All right, so we got momentum there. So the setup on the 5-minute chart from an intraday perspective was here. This candle, stop loss would have to be below this. Let's see, this fractal, about 69.95. We would have survived this dip. 69.93. Go 7 pips below the actual support level. And the trade is up a bit. Not grand, but is up a bit. Another entry could have been, if we keep the momentum, we probably lost it now. All right, but that would have been a 5-minute setup. That's the one I was talking about in this morning's webinar, in fact. All right. As a continuation of this Kiwi, as I was saying yesterday, this morning, that this is just a pause probably for continuation. All right, there's nothing regarding scalping. I wouldn't scalp that much on the Kiwi anyhow, but we could have a scalp here on the minute chart actually. Everything is trending on a 5 and 15. So in theory, but the Kiwi is not really a good one, I think. We just broke the R1, so from that point of view, it would make sense. All right, but we can try it for fun. I'm only doing this for fun. It's not really, don't take this serious. So let's see how that goes. But once again, it's not serious. Let's see if our scalping pairs, I think we lost track about that 1 minute chart, unfortunately, here, but we don't have momentum on the 5 minute chart anyhow. 15 still has it. 5 is a retracing. Looks like I just moved it a tad too tight. That's a pity. Maybe I should have used the 195 psychological level, which is a round level. That would have been probably a bit better to use. But anyhow, those things happen when trading a bit faster. Let's see if there's anything on the 15 here. It's up. 5 is not up. And it's below the pivot. All right. Not interesting for upside. So nothing to discuss regarding that at the moment. I guess only pound yen perhaps and pound odd if it does turn around back down. So we can take a look at those. But I just wanted to show you how you can, try to find kind of a intraday. Maybe scalping is not the best word, but an intraday, short intraday trade using smaller time frames like this, using momentum of the day to take a trade and get out within 1.5 to 2 hours. What is the max spread you use for the small time frames? Well, the pound odd is a bit high on that side, so it has a good movement, but it's a higher spread, right? So ideal, I think, is pound yen, euro yen, euro dollar probably. But if you kind of like an intraday trade, pound odd is still okay. Scalping not, but I think the trade I took is more of an intraday trade anyhow. Probably not real scalping, I would say. Anyhow, terminology aside, I think if you aim on the pound odd, if you can even an intraday trade, you're quickly aiming for 95 pips. Like last week was 95 pips. Euro odd, no, a pound odd was 81. Euro odd was 95, right? If it's in that area, then I'm okay with going with a bit higher spread, because then I'd rather take the opportunity that is there than focus on the pair with lower spread, but maybe the opportunity is maybe the pair is choppy. All right, so that is I think the only thing that at this moment pound I was hoping to have some momentum at this point. We got pound dollar to the downside, ironically, and it's right at the pivot, so it's trying to break this pivot. All right, that would be interesting. We got 5 and 15 down. All right, hourly not, so it's a bit of a counter trend trade, and that makes it riskier, but God, the Kiwi went nowhere. You see, 1 minute chart is sometimes, but who knows? We could get 5 is dying out. 5 is okay. 5 is being lost. So we lost 5. We lost momentum on the 5 minute chart. So I don't think that makes sense. Let's see. I'll take a small loss there. But anyhow, it's more for fun anyhow. I didn't like the Kiwi for 1 minute, as I said. So nevertheless, the pound that is trying to break has 15 and 5 minute momentum. All right, so we got a good push at this point. So this could be pullback continuation as it breaks this pivot. The question is if maybe pound yen isn't better. Ooh, look at this. Pound yen could be certainly better. Daily chart is down. 4-hour actually has a swing setup on this candle. Let me get rid of this fib. You probably cannot see that. And I'll show you why. I may be going a bit too fast. Daily, down momentum. 4-hour retracement right here, the end of the retracement with this arrow, as well as this oscillator. Hourly, hourly actually here lost the momentum, right, with the arrow here. So you got a good couple of candles here already. So we got momentum to the downside at the moment. Or we have a turn on the hourly, all right? 50-minute chart, we got momentum. 5-minute chart, we're retracing. So we're waiting for continuation. So preferably it hits the M2 and turns, and this becomes thick red. That would be the best. So from that point of view, I think that if we would be, this is more of an educational webinar as well at the same time. So if we would be in the future, in June, I think I want to mix it with education and looking at live environments. But let's say in the future we will be looking at a live kind of webinar, trading room webinar. Then we would do the analysis, filter the ones that are good for trades now, for intraday. Focus on these charts so that we don't miss anything. Then zoom out again to see if there are any swing trades, and then end the webinar. So at this point, I would be focusing on the continuation of the pound yen. So let's see. Maybe we won't get it. And maybe it stops here. I don't know. It would have been nice for price to reach its target. This could still be a pullback, but obviously price is now going against our position, so it didn't reach the target, unfortunately. Time will tell. Maybe I move it a bit too soon, but I must admit that I like moving it to break even. So I'll be a bit more patient again if the price moves my way, for instance, again. Here I'm patient with moving it at the start, but if I'm up that much, I don't like to give it away. So I'd rather just take break even and re-enter potentially again. All right, but we're getting a bit of pound retracement. There's nothing we can do about that. But I think the opportunity, considering the momentum on 15 and 5, is for a turnaround. So that's what I would be monitoring on these charts. If it doesn't happen, then I wouldn't trade it, right? All right. So why are your fibs look different from normal fibs? I'm not sure what you mean. What does a normal fib look like? You mean these minus levels? These are minus targets. Yes, I like those minus targets indeed. So that I have the targets and the retracements on one tool. And you can add that as well, just to add here, add the minus 27.2 and minus 61.8. Those are the two main targets. Very, very valuable. Very, very valuable. Awesome targets. I'm a big fan of those. In fact, I think those targets are more valuable than any of the retracements. So, from a swing perspective, I think Euro Yen is interesting. We didn't really focus on swings, but it depends. This candle does have to close. I would like to see it close bearishly, relatively close to this low. I think Aussie and Kiwi, are still pushing up, but I don't see any swing trades at this point. I only see continuation. If you're in that trade, that's fine. Trail stop, because those have extended quite large, quite far, right? Look how much it's pushed up. If you look at the Fibonacci tool right here, let's take a look. I said this morning that there's a good chance to reach level 5. No, sorry. 1, 2, yeah, 5 at 70.50. We're getting closer and closer to that. So I don't think it's too close for a swing trade. Too close for a swing trade. If anything, maybe a 5-minute chart. If this turns again to the upside, five-minute chart. Indeed, that's a continuation up to 750, which is the R2 as well. So it's a fib target using the fib sequence. That's the main target, 70.50. So if this turns here like this, if we get another arrow, I think that we do have a intraday up trade on the Kiwi. So that's something I would be interested in. The Euro Yen downside potentially. Otherwise, not the euro dollar. I think that's moving up nicely, but I don't think that that's a good scale in at this point or a good swing trade. I think it was a good swing trade where, this morning, when I discussed it this morning, that's something different. From a scalping trade, I said once again, the pounds look interesting. We're going to keep an eye on this pound yen 5-minute chart, pound on 5-minute chart. Any other swing potentials? Dollar CAD, I don't think so. Move too far, I would say at this moment. We could add the fib sequence to see if that's true. All right, no alignment on the Euro AUD swing 4-hour, 1-hour charts. Pound New Zealand does have it. You got 1-hour downside, 50-minute downside, 5 is retracing. So it's the same kind of idea as the pound AUD, or pound yen, but on pound New Zealand. And last but not least, any swing trade on the Euro New Zealand. Maybe, but we do have a bit of support level right here, so no, probably not. No. All right. I mean, it could change the Euro New Zealand a few hours from now if it pushes through this level and then retraces on a 50-minute chart like this, and you get 1-hour down, 4-hour down, and you get a continuation. I do think that the Euro New Zealand downside then would make sense. Maybe even in the Asian session, because it is New Zealand. So from that perspective, yes, that is a potential that could happen, right? Because this is trending very nicely down, no doubt about that. All right, so that is a potential later. but it would need a break of this bottom. It would need to keep 1 hour, 4 hour momentum, and then 15-minute chart, pull back and continue. Not necessarily pull back to this level, but make a pull back on 15 and then continue. Yeah, the Heiken Ashi candles are not in the trial. You would see, I'm not sure how you see that. Actually, you should see these red and blue candles instead. I hope that's what I was assuming actually. Um, but you don't see the Heiken Ashi candles, and the reason is because I have to protect the indicators, and it would be too much because there are about the HARP charts. There are actually 8 proprietary indicators, and a lot more indicators that are not proprietary. A lot of templates too, as the trial people know, specifically for the time frames. We try to make them tailored to the time frames that you're interested in. And it would be too much. It would be too much to set up all of the indicators for the trial. But obviously, anyone who joins the HARP charts would have access to all of those indicators. Yes, definitely. All right. When the HARP charts would be anyone who is interested, by any chance, is 99 euros per quarter per 3 months. Yeah, I really enjoyed them. I'm glad that you say that, Ethan, um, because I find the trading so I enjoy it. I find it pleasant actually. It makes it very clear to me. I know that I had a price action webinar, so it's a bit contrary to what we're looking at last week Thursday. What we're going to look at this week Thursday too, at Adamo Markets. And I think that's interesting too, by the way. And I do occasionally look at that information actually, because as you see, I sometimes switch to this viewing mode, right, to see where the candles are. But I think this is, from my perspective, it's faster for me to analyze the charts quicker. And then I use the candles sometimes just as additional information. So swing trades, you're not going to have always great swing trades. I think maybe I'm missing something. I don't want to. The pound yen, is it a swing trade? Maybe. 4 hour doesn't really have momentum, so iffy if it's a swing trade. Could be though. It could be a swing trade too. All right, 5 minute lost its momentum here, so no more setups on the 1 minute chart. Unfortunately, it is bouncing at pivot point, so no, can't do that. That's out of the window. Pound had bearish momentum, but lost it. Look, this was momentum. Couldn't break the pivot, and now lost the momentum. So, well, what can you do? That's why it's good to not to pull the trigger too fast. We want to trade with momentum, but we want to trade at momentum when it makes sense. And well, the pound didn't prove itself. Ideally, it will break below this before, I guess, we go in a bearish territory. And when you look at, in my opinion, there could be a couple of good swing trades, throughout the week. And in a session, if you look at a New York or London session, if you're trying to trade with the momentum like this, there's only going to be a one or two typically that work well. So it's really, I think, important to try to find those and not to. It's easy to overtrade. Let me say it this way. If you're looking for like a intra-day swing trade, right, that stays open for an hour or two, something like that, maybe longer, but a trade that doesn't last for more than 12 hours, let's say, and not only a few minutes. All right. And in any case, looks like we're maybe making a turn here on the dollar yen, which would be good for the pound yen. Let's take a look. But 15-minute lost its momentum, unfortunately. 5 doesn't have momentum. I don't think it's a scale-in vibe at this moment because of that, unfortunately. Momentum candles are still there, though. But I don't think it's enough to say that the 1-minute chart is a good entry chart at this point. But yeah, obviously I do hope for continuation. I hope that this is a pullback for downside. It's just that the pullback was a bit too big now to take it as a scale in or to add a trade at this moment. I think that the 5-minute chart could still make sense, despite the fact that 50-minute is retracing. It's only a mild retracement, and otherwise everything is still pointed to downside on the hourly 4-hour. Well, 4-hour just started, so I think 5-minute is still okay. We can keep an eye on the 5-minute. Anyone who took my trade of this morning, by the way, with me, is up 30 something pips. Got a good challenge here, but eventually got double top and started to move down again, luckily. And I think the pound out also is okay for the 5-minute chart if we see the end of this retracement. I think that those two are the primary potentials for this moment for the current next 1.5 hours. And from a swing trade perspective, I guess it's either the Aussie or either in the Aussie key or euro holding on to those targets. Otherwise, I'm not sure if there are any swing trades at the moment. Dalian, I talked about the Dalian this morning, but we never got a bullish candle. I would like to see it lose momentum here for a reversal trade, actually, but we didn't get it yet. That's something I'm still interested in. As long as price does not break below this bottom, then I'm interested in that. 4-hour chart would be the best, I think. 4-hour chart losing momentum, basically, and a candle that is probably bullish and breaking above these highs would be nice. That could be a swing trade, actually. Forgot about that. Perhaps the euro yen to the downside, but it would have to close, strongly close to the bottom. AUD yen. Let's take a look. We need. Well, let's take a look at the normal HARP template. All right, not a specific time frame one. Normal one is basically using the hourly and 4-hour chart. And AUD yen monthly is down. Weekly is down. Daily is retracing. 4-hour is retracing, but for upside. All right, but we do have a red diamond, but it's a bit of a mixed picture. We got a circle on top, so that still shows that the upside is retracement. But yeah, it's still not in the down momentum. 1 hour is retracing within the upside still. We got green diamonds actually. So it's a bit of a mixture. Um, yeah, actually, if you look at 1 hour and 4 hour, dark green is unfortunately momentum loss. Apologies for that. Light green is momentum indeed. It was actually meant the other way around, but it was coded the other way. So that's a bit annoying, but hopefully you'll get used to that. Yeah, the light green one is momentum, and the dark green one is loss. So that's a bit of a mixed picture here, I think. That's a tough one. I think that if you're looking at these higher time frames, daily could pose an opportunity as price retraces here, but it's strong resistance. So if it turns back down here with the daily, it could be the breakout candle that might lead to this. But that's a daily chart. Otherwise, from a 4 hour and hourly perspective, it looks a bit more bullish, so there could be a breakout to the upside, but we lost even momentum to the upside on both these time frames. I would say I wouldn't be that. I would skip it probably, right? That I think is my main message. If I had to make a choice, if really someone asked me, you got to choose, you have to choose a side, then short term probably rather up, but price is below the pivot at this moment, and we got red candles on the 15. So if the 15 were up, maybe it would go along with the 1 and 4, which is slightly up. The 15 is down, which is another contradictory direction. So no, I don't see anything that's interesting. All right, so pound yen, we have a arrow, and that could be a continuation with the arrow. Oh, unfortunately, just moved away from me a bit. All right, let me go to 60-ish. Use the same target, I guess. We don't have the oscillator yet, so this is a bit different. This arrow appeared on our chart at the M2, and we already analyzed the other time frames, so hopefully that will work out. Pound odd is not going our way. Let's see. Could still later on. This could just be a bit tougher pullback, and it might turn later on. And I think it still could be a good turn, but maybe not on a 5-minute chart anymore. Maybe on a 15, 5 or 15. Let's see. If it moves up too much, now look on the 15-minute chart for a reaction at the M2. I still think that it's a pullback, but we have to wait a bit longer. Excuse me. Pound dollar is not interesting now at the moment, even though it shows the same as pound yen because it's still above the pivot. But obviously it's good to see the arrow here. So hopefully it will break. Euro dollar, anyone who was in that euro dollar 4-hour trade with me, by the way, by any chance, then I have a target at up in here. But if today shows struggle, let me show you where. If it shows struggle and it's not reaching that target, I'm going to exit at. If it reaches 114 here, 114.19, right, and doesn't, cannot push through, then I'm exiting. So, we're getting close to London at close. Wait, it's already, yeah, any second, I guess. So, if it doesn't push fast, then I might just exit on any bearish candle here, or trail stop it. trail stop this bullish candle on the hourly. Or the 4-hour. It could be, worth trailing the 4-hour chart. This candle. All right, so let's see how that one pans out. All right, pound yen. Moving our way. So let's see how that goes. We got a bit of momentum back here coming in play. Look at this. I want to highlight this too. This is a moving average oscillator. And you see that everything is being pulled way to the downside. Let's put some targets on. One, two, three, four. We're at 5. So you might say, hey, isn't that a bit of a danger? But with the pound yen, it could easily go to 6. And these are Fibonacci sequence levels, okay? So I think the target at 154.80 makes sense. That's a confluence with the sequence level. So let's see how this goes. This is developing as we speak, so I don't know how much you're still interested in following this live, but I think that, well, depending on how this candle closes, seems decent. It would be nice to break this bottom. Maybe we can keep an eye on this candle. 1 minute will be the end of the hour, top of the hour, sorry. Oh, look at this euro yen. Ooh, that looks pretty good. This looks like a good candle. Right now I'm looking at the candle version, not at the Heikin-Ashi version. And you can switch, right, easily by using this, once again, just to highlight that. This could be a swing trade. I think this is pretty good. We have, the fractals are going our way. Good diamonds to the downside here on the hourly. Good diamond on the 4-hour chart. That's the direction we want to trade, downside here. Oh, that's the candle close? Yeah. So I think that's a good swing trade. Well, we'll find out if it's good, but that's the only time we'll tell if that's a good one or not. But I think it subscribes to what I'm looking for. Let me say it this way. 121.95. And the target, well, sorry for that background sound. I'm not sure if you hear that, but I will be aiming for minus 61.8 target, 120.60. All right, but I will be trail stopping this fractals at least, the very minimum. And maybe, let's take a look, maybe 4-hour candle highs as well, if they're strong candles, for instance. So that's a swing trade. We'll see if that works out. Pound yen, last but not least, got a good hourly candle. So I think that things are on our side. We got 1-hour momentum here kicking in. That's great. Good candles to the downside. We have 50-minute, good candle. Got momentum. 5-minute chart looks good. So I think, even to be honest, I think with such a 5-minute candle, last trading decision before I guess we wrap it up is I would even be okay with moving it above this candle, 155.42. So I would move to 155. Let's see, 42. I would go to 40. Sorry about that. I'm thinking 49. 49. Well, maybe 51. 51, yeah. 50, 53. I'll move this one to 53 too. All right, so now I should hopefully almost out of risk on both trades, right? Because I have some profit and a bit of loss. So now that second entry, I got one entry up in here that was already break even. Then the second entry is not at break even, but the total is roughly at break even. Okay, so let's see. Well, it could, as I said, you never know with trails, but I like to when possible move it. I think it's not a bad spot to move it. We got a good breakout candle. I would like to see it push through, and if it doesn't, we are already out of London session, and I don't think that it makes sense to really hold on for too long, because then in that case, we might see a bit of a retracement, and on a 5-minute chart, you don't want to live through that. Now, this could be different on the hourly chart. Perhaps this could be even a swing trade on the hourly. Let's check the 4-hour. 4-hour doesn't really have momentum, but daily does. You see, this could be, but that was actually this candle. In fact, this candle was actually the swing setup. But it's only a few pips lower. It could be a swing setup. Stop loss would have to be above this top, so that's a pretty hefty 100 pip stop loss. And the target would have to be at 154 for about 130. It could be a swing setup too, but I'm treating this as an intraday trade, and we'll have to see. Time will tell if this will continue or not. It's getting a retracement, it's getting a sturdy retracement. And sometimes I guess that happens. You know, if you get a choppy day like this with the pound, dollar yen is at support. That is a bit of a risk. Let's see if there's anything we can do about that. Is there any way to take some profit? Maybe I should have taken a bit of profit on one of those trades. But okay, I didn't think about that at that time because it was breaking out nicely. So I think now it's too late. I think now I just leave it as is. And if this is a bearish candle, I will even move it tighter, and then I will move it to 155.47 up here, down here, sorry, and lock in another 14 pips extra on both trades. This is ending up bullish, actually. So Eason is saying alligator lips at 155.44. Hopefully that will be resistance. Camarilla level L3 at 155.30. 155.30. All right. So yeah, that was a bouncing spot already here. But I hope that was my idea, that with this breakout candle, we should be set for further downside. That's why I didn't really think about taking profit down at 155, although we came close to the round level 155 actually, about 10 pips away from it. Well, I guess these bounces, you're going to always have them, so it's annoying, but what can you do? Five-minute chart is still in momentum. 1-minute chart is obviously retracing. Well, I guess we could wrap it up here because I don't know how long this is going to take. It could still take an hour if it goes our way. But basically, my plan is just to leave it like this. It's around break even. For those that don't have the first entry but have the second entry by any chance, then you might even want to put it just above this candle high. So you just, the risk is just very, very small, and no sweat if you lose that, if you have proper risk management, right? Or even leave it where I have it. That itself is also only about 16, 17 pips. Um, if it does continue, I will be alert around 155 and 154.80, and maybe take profit on one of those trades if it shows weakness, and hopefully get both of those TPs. All right. So that's my plan for the moment. Time will tell. At least there's nothing lost from these two trades. Pound odd, I would like to see a continuation as well. If it happens, a bit higher probably. Um, as a continuation of this momentum to the downside, it's slowing down, but still. And Euro yen probably too, right? I'm already in that trade actually, but if the 4-hour chart has a big wick, then I would exit that trade. I don't like it if the 4-hour is not showing strength. So that's something to be aware of. Maybe you should have waited for the 4-hour. Oh, well, okay. But anyhow, that's something to be aware of. And your dollar is moved already to this low. So that's the status quo from my perspective. Thanks so much for joining. It's been a bit longer than I expected, but I hope that it was still, you could learn from it, and it was a worthwhile experience. We have webinar with Nenet in less than an hour, so hope that you can join that. And tomorrow, an hour from now, we have price action webinar as well. Wish you all great trading, and see you soon, folks. Cheers.